No one teaches you how to be presented at a dragon's court. There is no etiquette for it, no kind older woman to show you which fork. There is only a morning, 3 days into my strange new life inside the mountain, when the king's attendants arrived to tell me that the court wished to see the offering, and that I was expected to stand before all of them and prove I was worth the king's protection. As if a person is a thing you audition to be. They dressed me for it. Gone was the soot-smudged burial white. In its place, a gown, the deep red gold of a coal at its hottest, scaled at the bodice like it had been made from the king's own hide. I did not have a mirror. I have never trusted them. But I felt the weight of it, regal and strange. And when I walked out into that hall of fire, I held my chin exactly the way I had on the altar. If they were going to decide whether I deserved to live, they would do it looking me in the eye. A dragon court does not murmur, it watches. Rows of them, beautiful and ancient and cold, fire-eyed lords and ladies who had each, I was sure, expected to be standing where I stood. And at the front, in red and white gold, Lady Ashvane, smiling at me with all the warmth of a closing trap. The king sat above them all on a throne of black glass, and his face gave nothing away, and that hurt more than I expected it to. It was an old lord who started it, silver-scaled and sneering. "This is the last dragon-born," he said, loud enough to carry. "This trembling village scrap. She has no fire. She has no form. She has nothing but a story and a pretty face the king has clearly let cloud his judgment." A ripple of cruel agreement. Ashvane's smile widened. "Perhaps," she offered sweetly, "the offering could simply show us this birthright we're all meant to bow to. Go on, little ember. Burn something, or admit you are exactly what your village always said you were. Nothing." Nothing. There it was again. The word, dressed in finer clothes, but the same word, the one that had followed me up every year of my life. And I felt it work, the way it always had, the shame, the heat of 100 rooms where I'd been the strange one, the cursed one, the girl who should be grateful anyone let her stay. I stood in that hall of hostile fire and felt myself start to shrink, to make myself small, the way I always had. And then I thought of a poisoned cup poured out a window, and I was so tired of being small. "You want to see it," I said, and my voice did not shake. I don't know where the steadiness came from, somewhere old, somewhere I was only beginning to find. "You've spent 3 centuries safe behind your fire, sneering down at humans, and now one walks in with your own flame in her blood, and it frightens you so badly you need her to fail." I looked at the Silver Lord. I looked at Ashvane. "You don't want me to prove I'm something. You're terrified I will." And under my skin, for the first time in my life, I stopped fighting the heat. I stopped being afraid of it. I let it rise. I did not mean for it to be so much. I swear I didn't. I only meant to light my open palm, one flame, one small, defiant flame, to wipe the smile off her face. but a lifetime of pushing it down, swallowing it, apologizing for it, all came up at once. Fire bloomed from my hand and ran up my bare arm without burning me. Gold shot through with red, and it leapt to the great cold braziers around the hall, to the veins of the walls, until the whole court blazed up bright as a forge, every face lit, every sneer gone slack. The Silver Lord stumbled back. Ashvane's lovely composure simply fell off her face. And the heat answered me. It knew me. After a whole life of being told it was a curse, my fire rose at my call like a hound that had been waiting at the door for 20 years. I stood in the center of a hall I had set alight, and I was not burning. I was glowing. I could feel it pouring off my skin, warm and golden and mine, the truest thing I had ever felt. And I started to laugh, half disbelief, half something fierce and new, because all my life they had told me to be ashamed of the one thing that was, it turned out, magnificent. I let the fire sink back, slow, into my palm and out. The hall went quiet, the kind of quiet that has changed its mind about you. And I looked up at the throne. The king had risen. He stood at the top of the black glass steps with the firelight I'd made dancing in those molten eyes, and the look on his face. I have never in my life been looked at like that. Not with hunger, not with the wary pity I'd grown up under. He looked at me like a man watching the sunrise after 300 years of night and not bothering anymore to hide it from his whole court. "And does anyone," he said very quietly, in a voice that carried to every cold corner of that hall, "wish to call her nothing again?" No one did. No one, that is, except the woman in red, who had arranged her whole face back into beauty by the time I dared look at her. Lady Ashvane inclined her head to me, a graceful, courtly, perfect little bow, and smiled like nothing at all had happened. But I had set a room of liars on fire and learned to read by its light, and I saw, underneath the smile, exactly what I had made. Not respect, not fear, a decision. The poison had been a test, a courtesy, a patient woman's first polite try. That was over now. As I left that hall, glowing and alive and finally not nothing, I understood that I had just made the most dangerous enemy at this court, and that she would not bother being patient with me again. Good. I was done being patient too.